Hello everyone, welcome back to a video. It is November 29th, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. This is probably better. You can actually see my eyes. Saturday after Thanksgiving, the last Saturday of November until we enter the last month of the year, which is crazy. I wanted to make this video. I've been trying to make this video all day, honestly, and I just haven't been happy with what I've been articulating. But I think I went on a walk. I think now I could say what I need to say. I wanted to make a video on, or I just wanted to talk about the upcoming Gemini full moon and the energy surrounding that, as well as the end of the calendar year. I think that this ending of the year is going to feel like a significant tie up. Like all loose ends are going to be tied. And yeah, it's an interesting energy. The Gemini full moon is on the 4th of December, so this coming Thursday, I think. And it's a super moon, and it's the last full moon of the month or the year. And from what I've read, it's supposed to be pretty potent. Gemini is an energy that is curious and is ruled by Mercury, so it has to do with communication and transits and like transition, travel, and truth. And what I see for this lunation is like, imagine if you had a pool and you drained the pool and there's just a bunch of shit left at the bottom of the pool that didn't go down the drain. That's kind of what the energy of this full moon is. Basically, we are going to see all the shit that is left not drained, like left over. And we're going to have to clear it out. It's the last clearing of the year. This whole year has been a year of clearing and stripping and like breaking old cycles, releasing old habits, etc., etc., etc. We've probably all heard it so many times, but this is the last like call to action, I would say, and can be a really awesome energy to work with because the sun is in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is all about the big picture. It's about exploration and going the leaps and bounds, and like new information, philosophy, all of that. And we can use this Gemini energy of like looking at truth and what comes up and seeing how it does or doesn't contribute to the overall big picture that we are aiming for. So yeah, it's pretty powerful, and you can like read and watch so many things about these transits. So I'm not going to talk too much about them, but I did want to talk about the nervous system and how making change is also a test of the nervous system. And a lot of times we stay in the same like patterns, cycles, habits, etc., because our nervous system can't hold the next level. Which is why it takes a few times sometimes to break these old things. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently because I myself am trying to call in A few things for my life. I am turning 28 on December 9th, and December 9th also marks 5 months of returning back to New York after being away for almost 5 months. And since then, a lot has happened. Um, it's felt like a life, excuse me, it's felt like a lifetime, but it also feels like I blinked and here I am in December or nearing December. And I can get pretty impatient with myself. Like, I have to keep reminding myself it hasn't even been half a year since I came back, and my room isn't exactly where I want it to be, and I haven't achieved certain things. But on the other hand, the things that have happened, I couldn't have even ever predicted, but I'm just so elated with um, the way life is rolling right now. So I can't really complain. Um, that being said, the things that I am calling in kind of scare me and they seem pretty far fetched, but I have such a deep want and desire and hunger for these things that I am now in a period where I want to work with how I can hold space for them. Um, and a lot of that has to do with like going back into meditation and subconscious work. I definitely feel like a lot of what my first half of the year has brought me was able to happen because I spent so much time alone and in practice through yoga and meditation and reflection. And I can say that the last 5 months have been a lot more. Um, I've been testing my nervous system or strengthening my nervous system in a different way through just like doing the opposite of what I would have normally done, or not doubting myself, making, rash decisions that turn out to be awesome. um, but I've been getting this like signal recently that I need to go back and do some deep inner work to strengthen myself and hear that inner voice that I talked about in like the tarot reading, to hear that high priestess inner voice, um, and to go from there. And I feel like, especially towards the end of the year, when we start to make lists and vision boards and write out our goals and make declarations and resolutions and all of these things, which are so exacting and in some ways so surface level. If there's no specific energetic or feeling backing it, if you're just building a picture because, like, I feel like these resolutions and declarations and these things can often be escapist if we don't have the proper backing behind it, if that makes sense. Like, you could go on Pinterest and make as many vision boards as you want, but if they are just because you're unhappy with your own life and you're not seeing the pathway to that vision board, then it's not going to work. And I'm saying that from someone who's done that so many times, and sometimes still as like a veil of, or not a veil, like a facade of productivity or a facade of taking action. I just make a vision board instead, and that's not really what's going to get me to where I want to be, but rather focusing on what it feels like to have those things, and then showing my nervous system and my subconscious that it is possible to have those things. Um, yeah. And so I feel like at the end of the year, it's almost more important to find the ways that you can come back to yourself and center yourself before you embark on the journey of creating a new self, or I don't know, manifesting money or love or whatever you want. Um, and that's the great thing about this new moon or full moon. I keep saying new moon. Like I've been saying it all day, new moon. It's a full moon. It's the super moon. The great thing about this Gemini full moon is that it's just gonna like be like, this is what's not working. Like this, it's just gonna be a big mirror, which is very Gemini. Like if Gemini is the twin, so if you look at yourself in the mirror, it's kind of a twin. You see your double, and you'll see what's. It will just show you yourself and all of the things that might be dimming your light, all of the things that might be just taking up the space that needs to be cleared. um, when I was a kid, I used to like sit on my bathroom counter. And so when I was a kid, I shared a bathroom with my grandmother, who has always lived with my parents. She still lives with my parents. And I didn't want to share a bathroom with my brother. So I would always share a bathroom with her because she had this really beautiful, like lime green bathroom. And it was like the back corner of the house, and it felt very peaceful. And so sometimes I would just go in there. Like it was like my safe space. It was very, very bright. Um, there was a lot, it got a lot of sun. I had plants in there, and I would just go in there and like hang out. And I would sit on the bathroom counter and I would look at myself in the mirror, and I would get so close to the mirror, and I would try to like almost, I would touch the mirror and I would try to almost touch the other side. And I feel like I would always be just looking for something. I was like convinced that the reflection had something different than me, like the person looking in the mirror. And I feel like this this time around, like this timing is definitely a time in which we can look in the mirror and look at the reflection and see what, like try to distinguish which is the self and which is the past self, or the self clouded by all of the things that have been left over from the pool being drained. I don't know if that makes any sense. Um, but when we're looking at these things, it's important to ask like why we still hold on to them, and then look into the why of that. So it's like, why do I still hold on to these poor spending habits? Because I'm not happy with my financial situation. Why am I not happy with my financial situation? Um, because I'm afraid to ask for more money. Why am I afraid to ask for more money? Because I'm afraid of being too much. And then just keep going like that, and getting to the root of like what our nervous system is used to holding, and then trying to repair it from there. And I mean, the best ways to do that is through meditation and writing and even speaking. Um, Something I found really helpful when I was away was I would go on these long walks in the mountains and I would just talk to myself and I would tell myself, you live in this apartment and this is your line of work. And I would also do this in Italian to like practice my Italian. But I would say like, this is your line of work. This is what your friend group is like. This is what your romantic life is like. And this is what your home looks like. And you have these opportunities that come to you. And I would just do that. And speaking that out loud, I would try to find whenever I would speak it out loud where, like, with what I was saying, where I found myself to be uncomfortable. So, me saying, oh, you live in a sunny 1 bedroom, beautiful apartment in the East Village. And then I would sometimes feel like, oh, I'm not able to do that. Like, I don't make enough money for that. I would feel uncomfortable with that and then try to ask myself why I would feel uncomfortable with that. And I'm not there yet. I do not live in a sunny 1 bedroom apartment in the East Village, but I want to work with the why. The why can't I have that? And why I don't let myself have that. Because if you could see it in your head, you could hold it in your hand. And I can tell you that a lot of what I've manifested a lot this year. And most of it I manifested through like just pushing straight through fear and throwing myself into the points in which I felt uncomfortable and let myself have it. Honestly, like told myself, you feel uncomfortable in this way? Guess what? You're going to do it anyway and just see what happens, because what do you have to lose? Absolutely nothing. And I can tell you that this year has been the best year of my life. And there are a lot of things I still have trouble holding for myself. Hence why I don't live in a sunny 1 bedroom East Village apartment yet. But I have this deep, like I said, I have this deep hunger and desire to get these things, and more so to feel the feelings behind these things. Why do I want a sunny 1 bedroom in the East Village? Because I feel secure in my own space, and I like to have space, and home is really important to me. And yeah, I like to be in my own energy. I have a very social life, so when I'm at home, I like to be at home. And I have lived with a traveler's mind and a traveler's heart all my life. And though I still have a traveler's mind and a traveler's heart, I would like to have a little more than a traveler's home. I would like to have a place for my clothes that's not like stashed under my bed. And I would like to have space to invite friends over and, share my home with my family when they come to visit me, and have a space to make art and to lay on my floor in the sunlight, and to step outside into one of my favorite places in the entire world and just have it all be right there. And that to me is very important. And I feel like this year I got out of the way a lot of things that my soul had yearned for, like living a complete traveler's life and taking risks and just living in really deep unknowingness, and having to have the knowingness in myself as the only thing to trust. to get me through. And guess what? I have no regrets. I feel really proud of myself. And for the first time, I can say I'm proud of myself. And that's crazy. Like I've never been proud of myself until now. It's really, really wild to be able to feel that and trust that and speak from that. So yeah. This has turned into a bit of a tangent, but I hope that you can find some sort of guidance or inspiration in this. Um, and this is just something to think about in this coming week with the Gemini full moon. I'm really looking forward to feeling it. Also, Mercury station direct today, which means that soon we'll be out of this like post retrograde shadow. I mean, I was born during retrograde, so sometimes I kind of like the reverse energy. And like when things go direct, I just feel like a diamond is cutting straight through my head, but that's besides the point. um, yeah, I will probably do another like reflection video or podcast closer to my birthday. I have a few things I want to talk about, but this has gotten way too long. So thank you all for listening. I've been enjoying posting on Substack as of late. It oscillates, it goes in and out, but now I'm just like not taking anything too seriously and just doing whatever I want. Because what else is there to do?